Come on in, welcome to my home. Today we are going to make the project that I've been waiting to make, and I made a huge mistake in it, but I'm going to prevent you from making it. Alright, so what are we doing? We are making a bedspread. Now, a lot of you might be intimidated by a bedspread, but this is beyond simple. Even with the mistake that I made in it, it would be easy to correct it, but once I put it together and I saw it, I was just like, it's not worth it. Alright, so let's start off with this. What did I use? I used two 60-inch by 120-inch tablecloths. Yes, that's all this is two 60-inch by 120-inch tablecloths, which means that a lot of the sewing is already done for me. I mean, it's so simple. So what do you do? Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you to do, when you get your tablecloths, wash them. It's just like any other sewing project. You want to wash your washable material before you sew with it. That pre-shrinks it, you don't have those sort of problems. And also I found out that my two 60-inch by 120-inch tablecloths were not the same size. One is actually about 2 inches smaller than the other one, but it is okay. It worked out. Okay, so what do we do? So simple. First, you have to figure out how you want the tablecloths to be on the bed. Now, the one thing that you could do, if you don't mind the seam in the middle, you could actually lay the tablecloths across the bed and sew it so you're just doing one seam. Voila, it's done. However, I didn't want the seam to be in the middle. I'm not a big fan of that. So what I knew, I put the two seams down the sides, right at the edge of the bed, so that way it'll fall that way. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, simple. All you have to do is fold the one tablecloth in half the long way and then cut it. Okay, that's straightforward. This material, since I did not go to the store to buy it, I bought this online. And yes, the very same tablecloths are linked down below in the description. What you'll do is you'll just cut it, fold it in half, cut it. Some material you can find a thread or a thread and pull it and then cut along those lines. Mine I knew wasn't going to be that big of a deal because it goes all the way down on either side of the bed. Okay, this is where I made my mistake. What I should have done was sewn wrong sides together first. So what you do is you just sew your wrong sides together, sew it all the way up, flip it over so you have your right sides together, and then sew it, and what that gives you is a French seam. The easiest way to do it is, like I said, stitch your wrong sides together, cut as close as you can to that seam, and then flip it, and then stitch your right sides together. When you flip it out, you will see that you have this really cool, straight, wonderful seam. Now, the nice part about the bedspread is ridiculously forgiving. Because it's so big, you'll notice how forgiving it is. But what I did is I sewed it with the right sides together from the beginning, and I could have gone and ripped it out and everything, but I thought, is it worth it? When I think about my aesthetic in my house, and I want my house to be the kind of house where you can come in, put your feet up on the ottoman, relax. I tell people right away, I have a dog. There's dog hair in my house. I tell people right away, it's okay. If you spill something, I'll wipe it up. This is the kind of house that I actually live in. And that's the big thing to remember. This is not a show house. I do not try to make it Pinterest ready, Instagram ready. Instead, I like to make it like lived in. It's with things that I enjoy. So, knowing that, once I did that and I saw that I'd made the mistake, and because it would have corrected one of the problems that I do have. By sewing it, by doing the French seam, it would have hidden the seam, the hem on the tablecloth. But once I saw it, I was just like, yeah, I could rip it out, but that's 120 inches or 240 inches that I would have to rip out, and I was like, it's not worth it. So I didn't. So I just sewed it, put it together. The one thing that you will find if you do the French seam is it will hide all of your raw edges. You will have no raw edges whatsoever. This fabric is tightly woven, so I'm not worried about the fabric unraveling when I wash it, put it in the washing machine, because yes, it has to be washable for me. If I can't throw it into the washing machine, I am generally not going to get it. So I just sewed it together, put it on the bed, and that's it. There is nothing else to this because most of your hems are already done. You don't have to worry about that. As you're sewing it, you do want to make sure that you get, everything lined up correctly. If it does not, you can ease it in just a little bit. That's what I had to do in a few spots. But it's so simple. You can have a bedspread, and it is a huge bedspread. Like I said, it's now, what is that? It is 120 inches by probably about 125 inches, 128 inches, and it fits the whole entire bed. Now, how will I use this? Well, I'll use this in like a multitude of different ways, because the bedspread that is on there right now is actually a canvas drop cloth. I love it. It has a few stains on it, but I love it. It's so durable. I have a dog. There's dog hair. But what I will also use this is I will use this as a throw at the bottom of the bed. It has a specific use for when it turns to fall, which is coming up super soon, but after Halloween. Long story. You'll see those videos. But yes, you can use it there. I can also put it onto the sofas in the living room, just like I do the drop cloths that are on those, tuck it in and make it into a couch cover. It is so versatile. It just ends up being a huge piece of fabric. And that's what I love about this. I made this simple bedspread. It took me probably about, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes to do that, and I think I'm giving myself a lot of extra time. Moving the camera around was in there. But it's really simple. It is only, if you do it the correct way, it'll be four seams that you have to sew. It's really only 2 seams, but you sew the 2 seams twice. If you do it without worrying about the back side of it, it's only two seams that you have to sew. If you do it without worrying about the backside, please make sure that you don't do what I do. Make sure that you are catching the seam on the front, so that way you don't see it, because you'll see what I'm talking about. But is that easy? I mean, it took no time to do this. It looks really good. In fact, I really do like this. I like the imperfection in this. A lot of you are probably like, oh, that's horrible, you should rip it out. No, it's not. No, I'm not going to. I enjoy it the way it is, and I think the thing about this is years to come, people will be like, oh look, this is a homemade bedspread, that's really cool. I just love it. Well, what about you? Have you done something like this? Are you going to try this? If you do, go ahead and post it on social media and tag me in it, because I would love to see how you do this. I have done this multiple times. The brown bedspread, which for you, just came off the bed in September, that is 2 tablecloths. And the cool part about this is those are polyester tablecloths. They stand up to everything. And if you buy your tablecloths out of season, or just as the season ends, you can get like a bedspread for next to nothing, and you can have enough of them so that they're seasonable, and they're also thin enough that you can then change them out, store them, whatever you want. Let me know what you thought about that down in the comments, and I hope I get to see you again the next time you stop by.